What's up guys, ACG here, welcome back to Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck of the Day. Today's deck profile is going to be on the brand new archetype released at Phantom Nightmare, Ashened. The new TCG exclusive archetype that is based on the city of Bombay and Dark Souls consists of dark attribute pyro type monsters, with the deck's gimmick being based on turning the field into a war zone between Vados and the Ashened monsters, leaving nothing but ash in the path of their fight. However, since this is only the archetype's first wave of support, the archetype does seem to be lacking both in card quantity as well as a consistent win con. Still, for the first wave of support, there seems to be a lot of hidden potential that can be unlocked with upcoming support. So we want to showcase this deck for you guys, so you guys can get familiar with the cards and give it a shot to find out the deck's strengths and weaknesses. Before we begin, if you enjoy our content, leave a like, subscribe to the channel with the notifications on, and comment down below what you think of the new deck. Do you think it has potential to become an unexpected meta contender with future releases, or will it be another missed opportunity like so many TCG exclusive archetypes before it? Now, without further ado, let's get to the deck profile. Starting off this deck profile, we have 3 copies of Vados, the Eruption Dragon of Extinction. This is the main card of the strategy. During the main phase, if this card is in your hands as a quick effect, you can target one card in either field zone, special summon this card to your opponent's field, and if you do, destroy that card. Then you can add to your hand or set one Ashened continuous trap card directly from your deck. Now, there's only one continuous trap card in the moment, but it is a worthwhile inclusion. If this card is sent from your opponent's field to the graveyard, you get to destroy all monsters on the field. Now, this effect might seem a little weird, but in order to understand it better, we need to get to the Ashened monsters. Starting off with 3 copies of King of the Ashen City. If Obsidian the Ashen City is in the field zone, you can special summon this card from your hand as a hard once per turn effect. Now, this is actually an effect that is shared by all Ashened monsters, both King, Hero, and Priestess. During the main phase, you can special summon one Ashened monster from your hand except King, or if your opponent controls a monster with 2800 or more attack points, you get to special summon that monster from the deck instead. After that, we have 3 copies of Priestess of the Ashen City. If Obsidian is on the field, you can special summon this card from your hand, and if this card is normal special summoned, you get to add one Ashened card from your deck to your hand. Finally, we have 2 copies of Hero of the Ashen City. If Obsidian is on the field, it special summon itself, and during the main phase as a quick effect, you can target one Pyro monster in the field, destroy it, then if you destroyed Vados, you get to place one Obsidian the Ashen City from your deck to the field zone. So the idea behind the strategy is getting Obsidian on the field, special summoning all Ashen monsters from your hand, and then special summoning Vados to your opponent's field by destroying Obsidian, and give your opponent a monster that can help you trigger all the effects of both King and Hero. During your end phase, you can target one Obsidian the Ashen City in your graveyard, place it at the bottom of the deck, and draw a card. If this card is in the field zone, is destroyed or banished, you get to special summon one Ashen monster directly from your deck. So the idea is that you get to activate Obsidian, special summon all the monsters you want, then pop your Obsidian with something like Vados, and then special summon any Ashen monster, whether it is Priestess to get a search, whether it is King to special summon another monster, or Hero to simply pop Vados. Following the Ashen monsters, we have 2 copies of Aratama as well as 2 copies of Sakitama. Now, this deck doesn't really need its normal summon. All of your monsters get to special summon themselves from your hand, so you do not need to use the normal summon on a Priestess if you already have an Obsidian. So I decided that Aratama and Sakitama were the worthwhile inclusion because they facilitate a quick and easy rank 4 play, so you can go into your Infernal Flame Banshee as quickly as possible to get any of your missing combo pieces and build your board as consistently as possible. After that, we have 3 copies of Cashier of Fenrir. Now, this deck does lack a consistent win condition and power to board break. So Fenrir is both an offensive and defensive tool that replaces itself, and at the end of the day, you can use this card to either close games or facilitate other plays within this strategy. After that, we have 3 copies of Ash Blossom Joyous Spring. I do not really need to explain anything about Ash Blossom. It is Ash Blossom. You have to play 3 copies of it, but it does have some extra uses in this deck. For example, if you normal summon Ash Blossom by having a Fenrir or a Hero on your side of the field, you can make Baron, which then you can use to pop Obsidian and trigger Obsidian's graveyard effect to special summon a monster. Speaking of, for the spell cards, we have 3 copies of Obsidian the Ashen City, the main field spell of the strategy. Now, when this card is face up on the field, all of your opponent's monsters become Pyro type during your turn only. After that, we have 3 copies of Awakening of Vados, in my opinion one of the most incredible cards the deck could have been given. When you activate this card, you get to place one Obsidian the Ashen City from your deck face up in either field zone. Now, this is very important because if they have a card like Fire King Island or Runic Phantom, fountain, you get to replace that field spell. Then, if your opponent controls a card in the field zone, you get to add any level 5 or higher dark pyro monster from your deck. Now, this does lock you from using the extra deck because you cannot special summon any monsters on the extra deck except pyro monsters, and there is only one that we're playing in this deck, which is Infernal Flame Banshee, but it's a small price to pay. Not only do you get one copy of Obsidian, whether it is in your opponent's field or your field, but you get to also search any of your big guys, whether it is Vados, whether it is King, or whether it is Hero. Absolutely incredible card. Also a quick play, meaning that you can use this during your opponent's turn to get to replace your opponent's field spell, and then get any monster like Vados, which is a quick effect to be summoned to the field, meaning that you get to pop an Obsidian and then special summon another monster. That we have 3 copies of Bonfire. I am very sorry guys, but you are definitely gonna have to break the bank on this one. Priestess is a level 4 pyro monster, meaning that you have to play 3 copies of Bonfire to increase consistency as much as possible. Speaking of increasing consistency, we have 3 copies of Pot of Prosperity. In my opinion, this is a much better card than Pot of Extravagance, specifically because it allows you to look for any missing combo piece that you might need, whether it is Vados, whether it is a field spell, whether it is Awakening, and it doesn't matter if you have more cards in your hand with Pot of Extravagance if the cards are completely useless. Like if you draw King and Hero, you do not really need those cards. Prosperity allows you to specifically pick the card that you want, and it is much better in my opinion. So 3 copies of Pot of Prosperity, absolutely incredible card. After that, we have 3 copies of Super Polymerization. The deck cannot break any board at all. It is almost completely impossible. In this format, everything either triggers by being destroyed or cannot be destroyed, so you just have to play 3 Super Polymerization to try and do some cleanup duty as quickly and as effectively as possible. Moving on to the trap cards, we have 1 copy of Ashened for Eternity. In my opinion, this card is not very good, but it does have its uses. It is the only continuous trap card the deck has at the moment, which is searchable by Vados. When this card is activated, you get to add any Vados or Ashened monster from your graveyard to your hand, and you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls that you own and take control of it, and then make all of your opponent's monsters lose attack equal to that monster's original attack. This card, in my opinion, not the best, but it does have its uses, so 1 copy it is. Finally, for the trap cards, we have 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Just a very powerful trap card, going first and going second. Nothing really to say about this one. Moving on to the extra deck, we have 1 copy of Muddragon of the Swamp, 1 copy of Garura, and 1 copy of Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. These are just super poly targets that you can easily get out. I really like the fact that because Obsidian turns all monsters into Pyro, you can actually make Garura much more effectively, which is pretty funny, but they're nothing more than the super poly targets. Nothing to say about these guys. After that, we have 1 copy of Bear in the Floor. I did speak a little bit about this card before. You can make this card by using Ash Blossom as well as any other level 7 monster, and you get to both have a null negate on your field, but also you get to destroy any card, meaning that you can pop your own field spell or a field spell that you give to your opponent, and then trigger the graveyard effect of Obsidian to special summon a monster from your deck, kickstarting your engine that way. Following that, we have 2 copies of Infernal Flame Banshee. This is the main reason I decided to play Aratama and Saitama in this deck. You get touch 1 Exist Material from this card to get any Pyro monster you want from your deck or hand, meaning that if you do not have a Vados, you get to add a Vados. If you want a King, you get to add a King to special summon a monster. You pretty much get to search your entire engine. Absolutely amazing card and definitely a worthwhile inclusion. Following that, we do have just a few good rank 4 monsters. 1 copy of Abyss Dweller and 1 copy of Evil Swarm Excitonite. Abyss Dweller is definitely a very powerful card in this format, so definitely a worthwhile inclusion. And Excitonite, apart from blowing up the board, can also blow up a card like Obsidian, meaning that you get to kickstart your engine by attempting to blow up your opponent's board. After that, we have 1 copy of Typhon. Nothing to say about this card. This card is absolutely incredible. And 1 copy of Zeus. This card cannot easily be summoned, but if it is summoned, it is very much worthwhile making. After that, we have 1 copy of SP Little Knight. I usually make this card by using a spent copy of Infernal Flame Banshee as well as any other monster, and it's just a very powerful link monster, definitely worth the 100+ euro price tag on this card. After that, we have 1 copy of the Dark Charmer Gloomy, as well as 1 copy of Hita, the Fire Charmer Ablaze. I decided to play both Dark and Hida because you can summon Hida by using an Ash Blossom or a Flame Banshee, and you do want to go into Selene and Access Code as quickly as possible because this is unfortunately the main win con of the deck. Just make a Dark or make a Hida, link climb it to Selene, make an Access Code, and punch your opponent as hard as possible. Unfortunately, the deck does have a lot of issues when it comes to winning, and this engine does allow you to do so as quickly as possible. Speaking of, one copy of Selene and one copy of Access Code Talker to finish off this deck profile. And that's the deck for you guys. Although the deck is still at its infancy, but it does seem to be able of great things, and we can only hope that Konami can deliver by providing this absolutely gorgeous archetype with cards as good as its inspirations and artwork. Thank you guys for watching today's deck of the day. If you enjoyed this deck profile, please make sure to like this video, make sure to subscribe to TCG, hit that notification bell, and leave us a comment letting us know what are your thoughts on the Ashened. What would you like to see of this deck, and what support cards do you think would make this archetype better? Thank you again for watching today's video, and we hope to see you on the next one. Take care, everybody.